welcome back. This morning, today, whatever. Welcome back. Today we're going to be doing some at-home dry firing. We're practicing firing by drawing from our concealed carry, rear open carry, or low ready, and practicing target acquisition and first trigger pull. So well, basically I'll have myself set up with the target in mind. So for me, I just have a wall over here that I have like a light or a door handle or something. You can do this, wherever. You can do it in your house even. You can probably do it anywhere. But the whole purpose is to get that from whatever position you're at to target acquisition to being able to fire in a short amount of time. All right. For the most part, if you're concealed carry or open carry without the long shirt over it, if you're carrying, right, one of the things is that if for any reason you ever need to pull your gun and brandish it or actually fire it, you're not going to be just having your gun in your hand typically, unless something crazy is going down at the range or whatever. But for the most part, you're going to be pulling your gun from the holster, right? See, we're empty. So you're going to be pulling your gun from the holster. You're going to be aiming at your target and then firing, all in a quick succession. So if that happens, you need to be ready for it. And the only way to be ready for it is if you practice it. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be sitting here with concealed, so shirt over top. We're going to be effectively facing the situation that we got to. We're going to be uncovering, pulling, bringing it up to your sight line, and then firing. Right? Now, because we don't have any sort of dry firing system currently, we are going to have to rack the slide every single time in order to be able to get that action on the trigger again. So the whole purpose is to get that initial steps. So the uncovering from concealment, from drawing, to getting proper hand placements, getting your gun pointed down range, and then acquiring your target and firing. Right? So that's what we're doing. A couple things on that is if you're actually going to be trying to practice the way things may go down, is you have to practice as things may go down. So I'm not going to have my shirt untucked and ready to go so I can get a quicker draw. No, typically I either have my jacket on, or I have a long baggy shirt that I can have my gun somewhat concealed in. So we're going to be starting from that position. I do it this way so you guys can kind of see a little different. We're going to be starting from that position. We're going to be uncovering, drawing, getting down range, getting that target, and then pulling the trigger. Okay? So, once again, sitting there, find the target, pull, draw, aim. Right? Okay. We'll do that some more. I'll face this way because I'm not looking like I'm facing at the neighbor's house. Now, it's not as important to be trying to do it fast as it is actually to try and to ensure all your steps are down, right? You don't want to, it doesn't matter how fast you can draw if whenever you go to draw, you're getting hung up in your shirt, right? So you need to be able to know where your gun's located at, know where the grip's actually at. You don't want to be trying to fumble with it. You don't want to be looking down trying to find it. You want to be able to know where it's at, right? So if that means when you're first trying to find the gun, having it not going to still but open, great. Figure out where your gun's at, where you need to put your hand at. You know, get it down ready. You can go ahead and grab. You know, whatever it may be. You know. Then once you know where your gun's at, then you can practice bringing up your shirt, undoing your jacket, you know, flipping your jacket out. Maybe it's zipped up, and you got to unzip it, you know, or if you just got to yank it up, get that down. And then secondly would be you don't want to be coming up with your finger on the trigger, right? There's times where people have pulled their gun out and end up misfiring. Not misfiring, but a negligent discharge, right, prior to aiming. So having your finger outside, that also is going to help whenever you're actually aiming, whenever you're actually pointing down range. Your mind already knows where your hands and your fingers are at, so being able to point to whatever you're trying to shoot allows you to get that target acquisition a little better. Also, a big step whenever you're coming up is to get that hand placement, right? If your normal hand placement, like myself, I grab the gun with my dominant hand, and then I'm trying to get my palm in all the excess meat left on this the pistol grip here. So I'm trying to get all my meat in there as much as possible. Get my thumb, my support hand thumb down on the bottom side, not on my actual slide, but just on the bottom side of my gun, and then also forcing my dominant hand thumb into basically my slide to give it. My right hand's already pushing the gun to the left. I want my thumb kind of helping ease some of that pressure by pushing it off to the right, and then gripping with my hand, right? So as I'm looking down, or as I'm gripping rather, and trying to get oriented, I want to make sure that whenever I do come from the draw, that I'm getting that hand grip placement proper. So that's another thing you can practice. You don't even need to be holstered for it. You can just find your grip. Find your grip, right? We're not even worrying about the target really. We're not worrying about trigger pulls. We're just worrying about finding that grip. That way, every time you pull your gun, you already have your grip on there, right? Sometimes you'll land, you'll be in the wrong spot, you'll be teacupping or whatever, but just finding that grip. You can even do it kind of slow and make sure you get it. It's kind of like when people walk up and you shake hands sometimes you get that bad grip on your handshake. It's kind of the same deal, right? Sometimes you grab your gun the wrong way, you need to reposition it. So go ahead and try repositioning it. Sometimes it helps to get more in a better position to take a step forward and kind of lower that rear leg to get better sight angle on it, right? So just coming up, finding that grip. Finding that grip. This is also going to lead you to being able to find your target acquisition better, because as you got, if you have the proper grip and the proper support grip, you're coming up, you're going to naturally kind of be right where you're wanting to be shooting at. Okay. And all this right here is just getting that muscle memory to where you can find your sight and find your target and be able to go for that trigger pull. Okay? Now once again, we're still empty. Haven't loaded the magazine yet, haven't loaded any chambers yet. So, once you start getting those down, you kind of know, alright, I need to pull the shirt, I need to draw, I need to aim down, get my proper grip, and then you can start looking at your sights. Now, whenever if you're in a real situation where you need to be pulling your gun, and you need to be protecting yourself or someone else, it is important that you're able to put proper shots downrange. That being said, you'll hear different people saying whether or not you should be aiming with a pistol, whether or not you shouldn't be aiming with a pistol, whether you should just be pointing your gun down range, and depending on distance being able to fire. All that has merit. However, if you're in a real situation and you're going to be firing your weapon, you need to ensure that whatever you're shooting is actually the target, right? If you're in a crowded area, you have to make sure that your shots are going to be landing where you're trying to place them, right? There's a little difference between you trying to be protective and defending someone else than you being the actual shooter yourself. So you have to land your shots. So with that, if it requires you to aim, then you must aim, right? So with all that being said, dry firing is a great way to be able to practice your aim, so that whenever you actually go to the range or whatever you actually go to, whenever you're actually in a situation, you're already ready for it. So once again, you're pulling your shirt back, uncovering from concealment, whether it's on your hip, in your back, in your appendix, whatever it may be. You're pulling back, drawing, getting that grip, getting that aim down, and then target acquisition, right? And then pulling trigger. Now, the first time you either have, whether you're using, see now I gotta look, because my shirt's tucked in. Whether first time you're using a red dot, you kind of need to get used to it. So whenever you're starting to draw, if you've always had iron sights and now you're trying to swap to a red dot, being able to draw and then get that into your sight line without having to close your eyes and get it all set up, whatever it may be, it is going to take a little bit of time for you to get used to it. So I would recommend initially starting out is if you're plunging out and you don't have that memory of where your hands are going to be at to be aiming, then go ahead, you can close that eye a little bit, get that red dot, and open it back up. And you can be on target. Alright, so that's it for today. So, key things there is practice makes perfect, and if you're ever in a situation, which hopefully you're not, if you ever are in that situation, then you need to be ready for it. So practice everything you can. Practice from concealment, practice open carry. You can even practice low readies, right? Just getting up there and pulling it up, getting your sights down, punching out, seeing, getting your grips. So getting your draw, getting your punch out, make sure you're getting that grip in there, getting your target acquisition, and then pulling the trigger. Of course, it wasn't locked, but pulling the trigger. So the more you practice, the better you'll be. So get out there and practice. Dry firing is free. Once again, only dry fire a gun that's meant to be dry fired, where it's okay being dry fired, it's not going to damage it. The best rule of thumb is don't dry fire rim fire guns. Other than that, you're pretty good. Cool. Until next time, take it easy.